Hey guys, it's Bharath Ghani with Urban Asian, and today I'm joined by award-winning director, writer, producer, lawyer, actor, comedian, the one and only Fawzia Mirza. How are you today?
I'm well. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. So, The Queen of My Dreams available on October 10 on digital platforms. Congratulations on the movie. I've seen it. It's colorful, it's Bollywood inspired, it's fun. What inspired you to make this film?
Gosh, this feature really started from like my first short film that I made like 10 years ago. And that was called The Queen of My Dreams. It was like a 3-minute short film. And I
Mhm.
made it before I even knew I was a filmmaker. I was really just trying to make this performance art piece that a friend of mine said, "Hey, we can make this a movie." And so, that piece was a really public conversation about this private struggle I was having, where I was just trying to reconcile being queer and Muslim and loving Bollywood romance, and like, how do you do that? And so, turning this into a movie really kind of helped me begin that journey of healing and finding myself and loving myself, and finding community by sharing this short film at film festivals. And I guess it really also began my career as a filmmaker,
Right.
although I didn't know it at the time.
Okay.
um,
Yeah.
and because I was an actor, I really, the next iteration of the short film was making a one-person show. So in Chicago, I developed the short film into a one-person play. That was a really personal story about, me and my relationship with my mother, told through a shared love for this, um, you know, Indian cinema star, Sharmila Tagore.
Yeah.
And it was only after that, like 2015 or so, that, I'd started to make more short films. I was gearing up to make a feature called Signature Move, which was my first feature as a writer and actor. And it was only then that I was like, oh, maybe there's a feature film I could write.
Hmm.
And that's kind of where the beginning of thinking of this story as a script began, and has gone through many iterations from when I first started conceiving of it as a movie. But that's kind of its provenance.
I love that. I love that. And going back to your childhood, what inspired you to get into the industry and filmmaking and, the industry in general?
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I always loved comedy. It was definitely a way that I connected to, well, I wouldn't say connected to, I guess connected to other people, but
Mm.
really by finding, I used comedy as a way to um, get people to laugh. I was a sort of a classic story of like one of the only brown Muslim kids in my school, and my food was different, I looked different, my
Yeah.
holidays were different. And so comedy was a way to have people laugh with me and not
Yeah.
feel like an outsider or feel othered. And so I was like 5, 6 years old when I remember feeling this sense of like, oh, there's power in this.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's the beginning kernel and roots of it. But in high school and junior high, like I loved, I was in the band, I was in speech team, I was very sort of extroverted in that way. Like I was in theater, I did plays. I loved performance, I loved making people laugh. And I went to college and my parents were sort of like, it's time to do something serious. So I
Mm.
didn't I didn't go to film school, I didn't go to theater school. It wasn't, I actually, as you mentioned, I'm a lawyer.
Yeah.
I went to law school in Chicago. And it wasn't until my last year of law school that I was taking a class that was it was called trial advocacy. And
Hmm.
in the United States, you have to take something called trial advocacy, which is where you
Yeah.
learn the rules of the courtroom. You learn the
Yeah.
rules of evidence, you learn objections, cross examinations, opening arguments, all of that stuff, why and when you can
Mock
object,
trials and all
defenses.
that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the rules of courtrooms.
Yeah.
And it was then like my professor was also the coach for our trial advocacy team.
Gotcha.
And so he was like, you should try out for the team. And I was like, okay. And I loved it. And that and I made the team. And so then I started competing against other schools, other law schools,
Yeah.
in these competitions. And to me, that I loved it, but it was way more like acting than it was lawyering. And so
Yeah.
that's the thing that kind of prompted me to go back and reconnect to my sort of artist side. And
Ah.
in Chicago, I started taking some acting classes again, and I loved it so much. And it was so inspiring that I promised myself that, yes, I would take the bar exam, but I was
Mhm.
going to be an actor. And
Yeah.
so I took the bar exam, I
Wow.
passed, and I was like, now I'm going to be an actor. And, it just doesn't happen overnight like that. Nothing happens like that overnight.
Absolutely.
And so I realized I needed a job as I pursued this. And so I got a job as a lawyer making, the lowest, not much money, the
Gotcha.
lowest you could make really,
Yeah.
working at a law firm doing really big litigation cases in
Yeah.
the city of Chicago. And I started lawyering by day and taking acting classes at
Wow.
night. And also, I did my first play while I was an actor. I took comedy and improv classes while I was a lawyer. It was all happening in tandem. And so that's kind of how it came to, I came to get back into the arts. But I then, after 2 years and 8 months, left being a lawyer to
Mm.
be a full-time actor, but, carrying a lawyer's debt,
Gotcha. Yeah.
which, I don't really recommend to people as like the ideal path to pursue, but that's the path I took. And I started doing comedy educational touring show to pay the bills, and then started writing because I didn't see roles for myself. And then that's kind of the journey I've been on, and stopped acting, and now write and direct.
And direct, yeah. I've seen your work on Deli Boys as well, and you killed it. And it's
Thank you.
super inspiring to hear your story. Growing up, who were your biggest influences?
I feel like in terms of like the film world or TV world, I don't know if I have those sort of like film director answers. I can say that I was deeply influenced by Bollywood films.
Yeah.
As a kid, growing
Okay.
up, those definitely saturated my life, my ideas of love, the grandness of what love and romance could be, the grandness of what life could be. Like it can be a movie,
Yeah.
and that's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
we're watching a movie play out right now in the world right now, just not a love story, just something much more tragic.
Gotcha.
um
Yeah.
but like that was a major influence on me. I loved comedies, I love rom-coms. And then I'd say in terms of, when I started um kind of looking into making this film and the kinds of films that I was being influenced and impacted by, or directors, I was definitely impacted by people like Edgar Wright, who made movies like Scott Pilgrim and Hot
Mm,
Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead.
yeah.
I'd say some Wes Anderson as well, although
Oh,
he was so deeply
legend.
influenced by Bollywood.
Yeah.
And, incredible female filmmakers who are, the modern greats of our time, like Lulu Wang and uh, Greta Gerwig. And, I love, John Cho's work as well.
Nice. Very cool. Those are great answers. This segment is called Spill the Masala. If you could listen to one song right now, what song would that be?
Um, Anything by Lord.
Lord, okay, very nice. New Zealand, I like that. Favorite Indian or Bollywood movie South Asian movie of all time?
You know what? I'm going to say the movie that I just watched recently, which was Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gham.
Can't go wrong with that. Classic,
Mhm.
right? K3G.
Classic. Talk about like parent-child drama.
Drama, gotcha. Yeah, absolutely. Shah Rukh Khan having to go to London. Um,
Yeah.
who's your favorite Bollywood actor or actress of all time?
I have always loved Shabana Azmi, and I
Ooh.
got to work with her when she played my mother in my feature film Signature Move, and she remains to be one of the most iconic actresses and was of all time, but also was in so many Indian films as
Right,
well, and was like a
right.
groundbreaking actress.
Absolutely nice. What's your favorite South Asian dish of all time?
Dal,
Dal. Wow. Okay.
dal chawal,
Staple.
staple.
Staple. You can have that anytime, anywhere. Easy to
I,
make, right?
Desert island, it gives you all the nutrients you need.
I love that. What are you hoping audiences take away from the film?
I hope audiences feel love. I hope audiences feel the humanity of the people in our lives, the people who came before us. Um, and I hope audiences, people have said they laugh and cry sometimes at the same time watching this film. And I hope that this movie can incite that level of emotion, because to me, that means that we're living in and deeply within our humanity.
I love that. What's next for Fawzia?
Oh man, there's a lot of things. I've got some TV directing stuff coming up, making a movie in Australia, a rom-com
Oh,
written by Monique, starring and written by Monique Gunaratne in the new year. There's a to be movie I made, a to be original that'll be coming out in February, and then a bunch of other things on the go. So stay tuned.
love that. Last question. What's the craziest story that you have from the industry so far?
Can tell you I worked with an executive who was like, you have to make sure someone dies in the first 5 minutes of your show.
Oh, no.
That's what you have to write. And I was like, okay, but it's a, okay, cool, cool, cool. So anyway,
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time. Congratulations. We're all so proud of you as a culture and keep doing what you're doing. Uh,
thank you so much. I appreciate you.
absolutely. Thank you. Killed it on the dance floor at Poppy, by the way, at Lily Sings event. I was there too. I saw you killing it.
Oh, amazing. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Fazia.
Thank you. Good
Have a good one.
chatting. You too.
Take care.